Hello everyone, welcome back to the JavaScript video tutorial. With this video tutorial, I'm going to discuss about functions in JavaScript. So you already know what is a function. In Java, we called as a method. It is set of instruction. It, we can include it into one block, which is called as a function. You can invoke the functions more than one time, and the other thing is you can write down any amount of functions, but until you are invoking it or else you are calling to that function will not be executed, right? Okay, so here this is my JavaScript file I created for the first video tutorial. So here I am going to write down the function. Right? Functions can be written down in your script tag somewhere here. Lungge ara script tag එක ඇතුලේ functions ලියන්න පුළුවන් like this. Function. Function is the keyword that you can use to create a function, and then you have to allocate a name. You have to assign a name like this, and the brackets is there, and you have the curly braces. Inside the curly braces you can write down the set of instruction that should be executed when you invoking this function. Right, this is one way. So I'm going to use the functions as an external way. Right here in my JavaScript file, I'm going to create the function, and then here we change it this to yeah, I will keep the sample function. And when I click on this, when I invoking this function, an alert box should be displayed saying that let's say something like this, right? Now from the HTML, I will remove this one. From the HTML, I'm going to add a button. And when I click on this button on click, I'm going to call this function, right? So I will execute this sample2 page. I have a small button here. So what I want is when I'm clicking this function, click on this button, that function should be executed and the output should be come, right? That's what the main idea behind this. Okay, right. Now still it is not working because I haven't included the file. This is kind of an external way of inserting JavaScript to your HTML file. So I'm going to insert my JavaScript file. I'm going to link my JavaScript file here. Right, then let's try it now. You can see you get the message as you clicked me, right? So what happened here is when you click on this function, buttons has this attribute as on click. All the buttons has this attribute as on click. You can give your function name here. When it is on click, this function should be executed, right? That's what happened. On click is an attribute. You can use that on click attributes, and this is the function that I have created right here. So what happens when you click on that button, it will be execute this function. That's what happened. Inside the function, I have these alert box. So alert box will be popped up, right? So that's what you can do with functions, right? So here, now I'm going to add a small input box. Sorry, type equal text. And I'm going to add an ID as right. Now if I show you, this is something like this. So I will add another BR. You can see there's a small input box here, and I will, when I click on this button, you click me, something like that. So what I am going to do is, now I want to get the value which is entered by the user, get the name entered by the user, and when I click on the button, there should be a display message, welcome, and the entered name, right? Welcome plus whatever the entered name. So that's what I'm going to do. For that, you have to take whatever the value entered from this text box. Text box එකෙන් user enter කරන value එක ගන්න ඕනේ නේද? So to do that, you can use the DOM elements. So why we need this DOM? Using DOM, document object model, you can change either HTML tags. You can add some modifications for your HTML tags, or else you can add some modifications for your CSS styles. Other than that, you can access form elements, you can set attributes. So all the accessing part, you can add any HTML element, CSS element by using DOM, DOM, document object model. හරි document object model DOM එකෙන් කරන්නේ පුළුවන් ඔයාලට HTML tag එකක් access කරන්න. ඒක වෙනස් කරන්න, ඒකට modification එකක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම CSS වලටත් styles වලට modifications කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඔයාලට paragraph එක තියෙන modification, ඒකේ තියෙන style එක වෙනස් කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඔය DOM කියන element එක, DOM කියන method එක පාවිච්චි කරලා JavaScript වලින් පුළුවන් CSS වලට වෙනස්කම් කරන්න. ඒ වගේම you can access the form element. Form එකේ තියෙන elements, form එකේ තියෙන values, use enter කරපු values, ඊට පස්සේ ඒ වගේ ගොඩක් දේවල් access කරන්න පුළුවන් මෙන්න මේ කියන DOM වලින්. So here I'm going to create a variable as name. So what I am going to do is, for this variable, I'm going to get the value which is entered by user. User enter කරපු value එක මම ගන්න. For that, document dot here for the DOM element, you have get element by ID, get element by class name, get element by tag name, get element by some style sheets. So there are a lot of DOM elements that you can use, DOM functions. So here I am going to use get element. You can see in my notepad plus plus, it is giving some suggestions. Get element by ID, get element by class name, by name, tag name. There are a lot of things. So I'm going to use the get element by ID. That means, so you are getting this, you are accessing this HTML tag, this input tag, right? So for that, I am using this ID. तर මම මෙතන assign කරපු ID එකේ නම තමයි මෙතනට පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. So my ID name is name, right? ඔගොල්ලෝ මෙතන වෙන නමක් දැම්මනම් if you are assigning any other name here, you have to use that name here, right? And then, so which one you are going to get? Now you are accessing the whole element, that means input box, but I need the value. So to get user entered value, I'm getting inner HTML, right? Okay, and then now the value is been here, and then I'm going to concat it with welcome message එකත් එක්ක මම ඒක concat කරා. Now let's see what has happened. දැන් බලමු අපි මොකද වෙන්නේ කියලා. හරිද? So still it is not working. So here it should be value, because for the input boxes it should be value which you can access. Normally if you want to set a text here, you are using the value attribute, no? So because of that you have to use the value, then you can get the value entered by the user, right? If it is like paragraph and some other tags, you can use inner HTML, right? Okay, so here I'm changing it to value. So that means the value entered by user. And then let's try to execute this one. Right, and I'm going to enter some value. You can see welcome, and the entered value is displaying. So if I change this value, and that name will be taken. So that's how you can access HTML element by using DOM, and you can call to a function, right? So the same thing can be done in another way. So I will comment this one for a while and add the same variable name. For that, here I'm going to add form tag. Form, and I am going to assign a name for my form. Let's say form 1, and then I will close the form tag here. And also for my input box, I am assigning a name, right? So I use the same ID and name, both are same in my case. You can change it. You can add your preferred name here. So now I have a form name as well as I have a name for my input box. From here, what I'm going to do is document dot, then I'm going to use the form name. So my form name is FRM1. So form 1, and under the form 1, I'm going to get the value of this name input box, right? Name, and from that input box I need the value, whatever the value user entered, right? Okay, let's see whether this is working. You can see it's still working, right? So you can use either get element by ID, or else you can use the form name and the tag name, element name. This is value, to refer the value, right? This is same as this value. Okay, so these both way can be used when you are accessing values from a form. formatting values user enter කරපු values retrieve කරනකොට මෙන්න මේ දෙවිදියටම document.getElement by id කියන එකෙන් පුළුවන් නැත්තම් form name එකයි ඒ අදාළ text box එකේ එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒ form element එකේ නමයි value කියලා දාලා ඒකිනුත් access කරන්න පුළුවන්. This both way is correct when you are accessing values from forms. Right. So those are the things I want to discuss. I will show you a small example. Let's create a small calculator. I mean, number one. Here I'm going to get the number one. Right. And I will give the name. I will change the name and ID number one. And type also I'm going to change into number. And I'm going to do the same thing for number 2. Here number 2, name also number 2. Here I'm going to add the button as add. Right? And I'm going to change my function as addition. Here I'm going to copy this function name and place it here. Right? And I'm going to copy the button again and add it here and change it to subtraction. Right? And I'm going to create a function which has named as subtraction. So I have two functions and I have two buttons. From first button I'm going to call the addition, second button I'm going to call the subtraction. And here, so what I am going to do is now I will delete these things. I will get the number 1 equals document dot form 1 dot value. Right? And I'm going to get the number 2, which is same like this. Only difference here is number 2. And I will pop up an alert box as sum is equals to number 1 plus number 2. I'm going to copy the same thing here for the subtraction, and I'm going to change here as minus, and here difference is equals to this one. Right? So this is I have two functions here, and I'm getting values from this text box. Number 1, number 2 are the text boxes, two text boxes. And with button 1, I'm going to access the addition function. With button 2, I'm going to access the second one. Right? Okay, let's see what will be the output then. Right, let's see what will be the output. Here both buttons have been displayed as add. So I will change here, it's because of the copy, subtraction. Okay, then let's see. I will enter the first number as 12, 23 and click on add. Right. What has happened? The answer is not add up, but it is concatenate, right? And then let's see the subtraction. It works because plus mark is used for the concatenation purpose, right? So here all the text boxes are returning a text value. So because of that, here when you are using the plus mark, it will concatenate because it is a string value. So you have to convert the string values into an integer value. To do that, we have in JavaScript, we have a function as number, right? Inside the number, you can give any string value. So this is the string value. From the text box, we get a string value. So we are converting it into a number value like that. I will perform the same thing here. Okay, then let's see what will be the output now. Yes, you get the output as 35, right? So there's no any harm with this one because it works already. Okay, so this is something we call as type conversion. When we are talking about Java also, we have discussed. This is called as type conversion. We are converting string values into number format, as well as there's another function in JavaScript as string, where you can convert any integer value into string, right? So those are some type conversion functions. Okay, so that's what I want to explain with functions, and I want to explain how to access some values from the input boxes. So this way you can easily access the form element, and this is how you can easily write functions, right? So I will stop the video for now, and let's meet with some questions in next video tutorial.